Oh, do you know what? I've been asked this a few times. I just don't know. I just don't see. I just don't know. And I like to sort of watch players, and obviously I see the game in a certain way because that's how I thought about it, played it. So I like to see myself in a certain way. But I'm nowhere near, Haaland, shape and size and style of play and all the rest of it. Ollie Watkins, nowhere near, Mo Salah, nowhere near. I don't think at the moment there's anyone that I look at and think, oh, I'm similar to him. I don't think, unless you can ping some at me that I think, oh yeah, maybe. But I just don't see anyone. And the other thing is that, very few teams are playing two up front now. Like I was always with a partner, and I look at myself and think, right, if I return tomorrow, where would I play? I'm not sure. I'm not sure teams would want me as a central. I think I'd have to play one of the wider players. So that would obviously be a massive change to me as well. So I honestly don't really know. Look at that. Imagine if I had that answer. Well, I mean, people like Unai Emery or whatever, some of the most experienced, talented coaches on this planet, would probably love that answer as well. There's lots of people, and it wasn't just David Moyes, it was, greats like Van Gaal and Mourinho and others. So, sometimes it's just very, very difficult to follow the Lord Mayor's show, isn't it? We've seen that in the past. But as I say, two examples being Arsenal and Manchester United doesn't mean that that's it. That's like cut and dry. That's exactly what happens. So, we'll see if that trend continues. But, the problem is you've got to be yourself. You can't just sort of think, oh, right, Klopp's left, let's do it exactly the same way as it, because, nobody can do it that way. He's got to be himself, and whether that players take to that, the club takes to that, we'll just see. But there's certainly no magic wand or no magic recipe. Well, it all depends on what terms and things like that, doesn't it? I think Salah's got 1 year left. How long's Van Dijk got? I'm not sure, is it two? I think so. There's always fans out there that, so desperate, I'll just give them whatever they want. That time, I'm obviously not, I'm not that person that thinks that, of course. But as I mentioned earlier, you've got to keep the difference makers. You've got to find difference makers. Liverpool have probably got 3 or 4 in their team that are the difference between, being a decent team and a great team. And every team are the same. There will be good players, great players, and then there's just the absolute elite. And Virgil van Dijk is the absolute elite. Mo Salah is, in his position, the absolute elite. You can't, if you take both of them out of the team, they're not going to win the league next year. They're that important. So, unless you replace them, obviously, with top, equal players. So, yes, I would very much like to see Mo Salah and Van Dijk continue. There's no sign of them aging, apart from, obviously, we all age every single day. But there's no sign in their performance that they're aging. So, yeah, I would like to see Liverpool have both those players for the foreseeable. I'd go Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, Harry Kane, Wayne Rooney, Andy Cole, Sergio Aguero, Robin Van Persie, Robbie Fowler, Jermaine Defoe, Mo Salah. Mbappe. I mean, it's obviously an unrealistic question, isn't it? But, Mbappe would be my number 1 pick. Harry Kane would probably be the second best pick. Yeah, all very unrealistic, but if I had one pick, it'd be Mbappe. I mean, Real Madrid next season, my God, how good are they going to be? Unless there's somebody, loitering that's, 18, 19 or whatever, that might be the next big thing, that the scouts have got on their radar, but I don't think there's anybody at the moment that I think is worth going and spending fortunes on. at the moment. Like, it's better than what they've got, and it's going to be like value for money. I mean, you know, I like Ollie Watkins, I like Isak at Newcastle, I like these players, but what are these players going to cost? Are they miles better than what they've got? Things. I personally, if I were Liverpool, I'd personally be keeping my powder dry, saving plenty of money, and when some big hitter that is the next, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, or whatever it might be, some elite, absolute top class player, then just go wham, like they've done in the past with Van Dijk and Alisson and whatever. That's what I would do. There's no point buying for buying's sake, just to keep fans happy and things like that. I mean, you've got to be top class, haven't you, to be better than what you've got already. So there's no point just buying another 30 million player that's just like a squad player. Squad's big enough. Just say keep your powder dry and just spend it when a good one comes available. Oh God, how long you got? I mean, it's hard, and for United, because I can't believe over the years there's like all these players that get signed are all top class players when they sign, and obviously 95% of them turn into less than top class players when they sign, when they walk through the door. You look at loads of them. So I can't believe that, let's say Pep Guardiola was manager of Manchester United. I think people would view a lot of these players in a totally different light than they're currently viewed. And that's been the case for a long time. I'm not blaming Ten Hag for this. I'm just saying that's the case for a long time. But I think a top coach, can absolutely, improve a lot of these players. I always remember when Jurgen Klopp came in, nobody had heard of Andy Robertson, and, nobody had heard of a lot of players. People laughed at Jordan Henderson, saying he couldn't do this, couldn't do that. Well, James Milner, like, oh, he's a journeyman pro. Like, he improved virtually every player tenfold at that club. It was incredible. Like, players that you wouldn't even think world class turned world class in the space of months. And I just think that with Manchester United, it's all right. Everyone said, "Oh yeah, let's have a mass clear out." And I actually think there'll be a lot better players in there than people realise. Once things start going in the right way and turn it around, you might find that they're a better team than you give them credit for. So that's what I would personally, if I was the chairman of Manchester United, I would look at trying to check my coach and trying to get top coach. It's going to get more out of the current players before I start looking at elsewhere. I mean, Man United have spent more money than anybody, in recent years. Quite clearly, it's not the answer, is it? Quite clearly, I mean, it's not like people have been seeing this for 1 year. It's happened for like a decade. So, I don't understand why people just think this wand of spending money is going to change everything. It's not. It has to change from the top. I know he definitely goes down as one of the all-time greats. Not just for what he did on the pitch, the style of play, the trophies he won. He basically won everything. But just the way he connected, he brought club together. I think he will go down as one of the all-time greats. The only unfortunate thing is that some guy called Pep Guardiola is managing at the same time as him. Because if Man City weren't what they were, then, I'm sure he would have won a lot more. That'll probably be his regret. Only winning one Premier League is probably going to be a regret in a way. But hey, it's one more than they had before he came. But no, I think he's been amazing and absolutely amazing. I think all the fans obviously love him, and I think he'll go down as one of the greats. Yeah, I'll have your £100 that there's not. I love this time of the year. It normally happens with about 3 weeks to go in the season. Like one of the papers just does a massive back page, Manchester United clear out or whatever. It happens every single year at this time. It's just incredible how people always buy it. I can assure you there won't be more than 3 players, like players that the regular. There never is. I don't think people realise how hard it is to move players on. You know, that somebody wants is going to give you the right offer that you could get rid of, or, you know, trading players. You look at the history in football clubs, how many players sign over a summer? If Manchester United have a mass clear out, it's impossible. Even if they did, do you think they could bring in 10 players or whatever? It's just utter bollocks. There won't be a mass clear out. They haven't got the money. They can't. They've spent over £1 billion in the last couple of weeks. You know, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. There will not be a mass clear out. And there might be a signing or 2 signings, but that'll be the same with every single club. It's just pantomimes it. Everyone says it all the time. As I say, back page of the paper about 3 or 4 weeks to go in the season says it every single year, and people buy it. I just not buy the paper, I mean buy into it. It's just, there will not be one. There never has been one at a football club where you get rid of 15 players or something having a mass clear out. It just won't happen. So I will have egg on my face if they sell any more than 3 players. Well, the right decision. I mean, if you asked 20 fans, I reckon 19 would say scrap it, but and probably pundits as well, because half of them don't know the rules. But no, VAR is, listen, I don't love everything that's about it, but if people just understood what it was there for, and of course there's been 1 or 2 mistakes, of course there has, but, you know, look at cricket when it first came in, look at rugby when it first came in. There was mistakes for 10 years, of course, with, you know, I don't even know how long we've been at it, 5, 6, 7 years or something. But what is the hardest thing with VAR is the unrealistic expectation of fans and players and managers, and half of them that, as I say, don't even know the rules. And we're all subject, and we're all offered the chance to go and sit in the VAR room, to come to meetings, to Howard Webb hosts a meeting on Zoom every month to discuss it, to iron things out, to, you know, why did this happen, why did that happen? And this is the problem with it, is if somebody thinks something's a foul, you know, if there's 10 people in the room and 7 of them think it's a foul and 3 of them think it's not, the 10 people that think, the 7 that think it is a foul, they're like, oh, that's a penalty. But it's not a definite mistake. So, what's the point in having VAR if you're not going to, you know, if you're not going to, and this is the whole thing. It's right, well, if that's your attitude, you are never, ever going to be converted. VAR is there for big mistakes that, universally, we all think that is an absolute, you know, travesty. It's a huge mistake. Now, people just want VAR every 2 minutes, and you know, people have just got unrealistic expectations of it. 1, they don't know the rules, and they don't know what VAR is there for 2. I mean, if you're not educated about something, I don't understand how people get airtime. I don't understand how half of these managers come on. I mean, there was a huge example with Gary O'Neill last year. He was coming on complaining about it. It was just blatantly, well, you've not been to a meeting, Gary. It's you're saying that to your, you know, hundreds of thousands of fans, and now no wonder Wolves sort of, and you're giving the wrong sort of sentiment and the wrong thing to all your fans, and now, do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know what the word for it, but how can you have a discussion with people in general when no one even gets it or understands it or knows what it's there for, and just goes on their belief or whoever they support and things like that, and then start saying, oh, it's corrupt, and it's it's tiring, it's boring, and, you know, the refs are doing absolutely their best and making far less mistakes than they've ever made before. And if people understood what it was there for, and people don't understand the repercussions as well. If your new idea, if we do that, then what happens to this? I mean, they think that if you foul someone and get a second yellow, but the first one was falsely given as a yellow, well, that should be retracted. Well, so we're going to go back to the 15th minute, even though we're at the 90th now, and say, oh, that wasn't a yellow, so that can't be a red. So hang on a minute, so you wouldn't have had a sending off, so let's start again after 15 minutes. It's like, what are you talking about? People just don't understand it. It's like, it's infuriating. And anyway, things will be better. We'll have the offside, automated offside next year. So people that don't like the lines on the pitch and things like that, they'll be pacified this year, which will make it better, things like that. But no, I would be for VAR, definitely. I've always been against financial fair play. I think I don't know what, but I think there's a better way of policing and safeguarding football clubs than doing what we're doing. I just think that overall, it's just protecting the bigger clubs and it's given no hope to the smaller clubs. You know, if Bournemouth come into the Premier League, let's say, and their income is only, 100 million from sponsors or whatever, and Manchester United's a billion, and you can only spend a certain percentage of what you... I mean, how on earth are Bournemouth ever, even if they have Bill Gates, owning them tomorrow, how on earth are they ever going to be able to compete when they're just... There's no point in ever having a dream if that's the case. It's... so I've never ever thought that was fair and whatever. However, I do understand the need to protect it. You can't just go and spend fortunes and leave massive debts and then, you pass away or you leave the club or whatever, and then all of a sudden the club gets wrapped up like we've seen in the lower leagues. But I just think there's better ways of doing it.